Drop that heat.
So while all this E3 stuff has been happening over the course of a couple of days, since EA did their conference just like 2 days ago, and yesterday was Bethesda's conference and all that other stuff, E3 has been going on for the past couple of days. I've slept all day yesterday basically, so I've been really lazy, and I need to get these two videos out really quickly, and I'm gonna try to get them out as soon as possible because I don't want to miss out on two episodes and have to wait like the course of a couple of weeks in order to get new episodes and post all those all at once. I'm going to try to get these two videos out as soon as possible, hopefully later today, because I'm recording this at about like 3 o'clock in the morning because I've been up all night. I woke up at like 10 and I've been awake ever since. But regardless, we're here to talk about Boruto, and this episode takes a different turn towards the end of the episode, towards the second half. Like the first half of the episode was like all action and it was really intense because it's a three-way fight of Sarada versus Boruto versus Shinki, two for the hidden leaf and one for the hidden sand. And then of course, because Shinki's like ridiculously fucking powerful, Boruto and Sarada immediately team up. They team up and they fight against Shinki 2-on-1, right? And so far, once they decide to do that, it doesn't really work out too well because Shinki's got that ultimate defense, kind of like how Gaara did back in part 1. And I also liked how Naruto pointed out, like, oh, that reminds me of someone else, and Gaara doesn't really say anything. But of course, because if you watch part 1, Naruto part 1 or Shippuden, you know that Gaara had the sand that he uses like all the time, and that was like his ultimate defense back in part 1. But then some characters were able to obviously penetrate that. But regardless, the three of them are fighting 2-on-1. Obviously Shinki is proving to be ridiculously fucking powerful, way more powerful than they honestly anticipated. And I said this in my last Boruto episode review, but I still stand by when I say that Seijun Mitsuki would have beaten Shinki. But because this is Boruto and because plot stuff has to happen from the movie, it's kind of obvious who wins, but the outcome of that actually is different from the movie, and it happens on a complete different point of the storyline. So I'll get into that in a little bit, but the fight continues on. Sarada and Boruto can't do anything, so it gets to a point in the fight where they realize that Shinki has magnet release, and I already kind of expected that he had magnet release anyways, because it kind of just seemed like he did because of his iron sand, because typically whenever someone has iron sand, it's kind of like magnet release. But then again, like the third Kazekage back in Shippuden, when we like saw his puppet version of him, he didn't really have I guess he had magnet release. I'm not really sure how that works, because whenever Naruto uses his magnet release Rasen Shuriken, it's not really like iron sand or anything. It's basically just a Rasen Shuriken, but it's got like the decals of Shukaku. It's kind of weird how Naruto uses the other Kekkei Genkai of some of the other tailed beasts because reasons, right? But regardless, Shinki has magnet release, and you can't really do anything against it because there aren't a lot of ways for the two of them to basically stop it, right? So it's then at this point that they figure out that they have to use their own lightning release jutsu, right? So Sarada uses the jutsu that she copied from a couple arcs back with the lightning balls, right? That's literally what the jutsu's called. I can't fucking call it anything else. And Boruto creates a bunch of shadow clones and pulls out a bunch of shurikens with his shadow clones and adds on top of lightning release with them, because adding on top of your whatever your release nature is makes something more powerful. And that's proven back in Shippuden when Naruto was first learning the Rasen Shuriken, because Asuma taught him that him adding the wind release nature made his kunai a lot stronger. So whatever, right? So they do that and it doesn't work. So I actually really like what they did here. So Sarada does her lightning ball like jutsu thing, and then Boruto does his thing with the shadow clones and adding lightning release with his shuriken, right? Like all of his shurikens, right? He throws them into the lightning balls and he calls it lightning style like shuriken, lightning ball shuriken jutsu. I think that's what he's called it. It was really weird. It was like a brief second. I don't really remember what he called. It was kind of cool because he throws the shurikens into the balls and they shut up. he he throws the fucking shurikens into the balls and then they're sent flying towards Shinky, but Shinky was able to one of his jutsus that he uses the most is actually pointed out by Gara, and Gara points out that his Iron Sand, Black Iron Fist. What are these names? If you take them out of context and add them as an innuendo, they sound really sexual. But his iron release or his magnet release, Black Iron Sand, right? He's using his Iron Sand and he's creating two Iron Sand giant fists, and he's using that for both attack and defense. Gara points that out, and Boruto and Sarada do what they do, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. He says, you don't have any lightning style jutsu that you can use that can, stop my Iron Sand, right? So it doesn't do anything. And so at this point, Boruto's being thrown into a corner. He has to, get the fuck out, and so he starts, resorting to the scientific ninja tool a little bit, it seems like, because something that I really liked what they did was they made one of the characters seem not like an idiot like the others, which actually was really weird because Mitsuki notices that Boruto has the scientific ninja tool, right? But no one else really noticed it, and they didn't. I say that because the episode doesn't insinuate that. It doesn't show like Naruto like sees it or whatever. Like no one saw it besides Mitsuki, but you see it for like a brief second. Like if you're watching the episode, you see it yourself as well because they show it for like a brief second, and Mitsuki's the only person who sees it, right? So yep, the fight continues on, and then Mitsuki pulls out his jutsu, Iron Sand, Black Iron Wings, which is kind of like what Conan did back in Shippuden with like your paper wings and stuff. It looked really cool. It looked very similar to what Conan did, but he's doing Iron Sand, Black Iron Wings, right? And so basically, it's two giant wings that are made out of his Iron Sand, and he shoots out a bunch of projectiles that look like iron feathers, which was weird. It was really weird for me because I was like, "What the fuck is the point of that? It doesn't really contribute to anything. It could have looked like anything else, but regardless, it looked like that, which it kind of looks cool." But Boruto then notices that some of the Iron Sand from Shinki's Iron Sand was on Sarada's back, and I was like, "Oh, that's basically like a homing like beacon kind of like thing, right?" Because I forget who did it, but someone from the series did something very similar. Not with like the Iron Sand or anything, but they did something very similar. But basically what happens is Sarada is trying to race towards Shinky and try to stop him. And then the iron like black feathers that Shinky had like thrown out towards Sarada, they go back and they reverse back and they hit her, and she's then basically unable to fight for the rest of the match, right? So it's a one-on-one between Boruto and Shinky. Sarada loses, right? Which to me wasn't really that much of a it wasn't that much of a surprise for me because, like I said, it was obvious who pretty much has to win because plot reason stuff and all that. And plus, Shinky's like really stupidly powerful for a fucking genin at this point in the series. It's kind of idiotic how stupidly powerful he is. But Sarada loses. She's unable to fight. Rock Lee says so, and so it's a one-on-one between Boruto and Shinky. And I'm wondering what the hell is going to happen, right? So Boruto does his stupid Boruto stream, right? Where he creates two shadow clones and uses wind release to projectile himself forward. And he actually uses lightning release on his hand, but it's not like the Chidori or purple lightning or anything. I say purple lightning because of what's going to happen in a second. But it's not like the Chidori or purple lightning or anything or whatever, right? It's just basically his hand is engulfed with lightning release jutsu, which I was like, what was the point of that? Like, it doesn't really contribute to anything. It doesn't really do anything. It kind of looks like the Chidori, but it's not the Chidori. And it's like kind of like purple lightning almost, but it's not purple lightning either. And purple lightning is basically a precursor kind of thing to the Chidori because the Chidori is stronger, but it consumes more chakra. And the purple lightning is essentially the same thing, but it consumes less chakra. Like, it's not like on a kunai or anything. It's literally just on his fucking hand, right? So Shinki creates a giant iron sand like spike needle kind of like thing, and he shoots it towards Boruto. And Boruto's using his lightning release jutsu, Boruto stream, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And it's basically just a clash, right? And you don't really know what the outcome is, right? Unless you already know what's supposed to happen, but you don't really know what's gonna happen, right? It's just a clash between the two and their jutsus and stuff, and Boruto doesn't seem like he's going to win because he cracks like the giant like needle thing, but it doesn't really do anything else besides that, right? So then Boruto starts having a couple of flashbacks of, Konohamaru saying like take some time and build up your strength, and then Sasuke saying like eventually there will be a point where you can use powerful jutsu as well. And Boruto's like, no, I'm not gonna. Like Boruto's like, no, I can't wait until some other time. I don't have time for it. I have to win now. And he uses his scientific ninja tool. And to my surprise, he then uses purple lightning. And if you watched, I think it was like the last episode where like the scientific guy, I forget his name. He's so irrelevant to the story besides the scientific ninja tool. I just don't care what his fucking name is. But he gives him the scroll that's supposed to go into the ninja tool, right? He gives him the tool, and we don't really know like what type of jutsu it is. I was thinking it was something like a more powerful version of the Rasengan for some reason, because like Boruto currently can use the Rasengan, but he doesn't ever use it because he thinks it's like less powerful because of the stuff that happened with fucking Sasuke in the forest when he was training with him. All that fucking bullshit, right? But regardless, Boruto pulls out the purple lightning because of the ninja tool. He breaks the attack that Shinki had thrown at him. It completely like shatters into a whole bunch of pieces of iron sand. He charges at Shinki, and he wins. He wins the fight, and he wins the entirety of the Chunin exams. Everyone's cheering for him. His friends are cheering for him. They're like, "Oh yeah!" Like, and then Inojin actually points out like, how did he master, Lord Six technique, right? Because that's purple lightning was only used by Kakashi. It doesn't really seem like anyone else can use it currently, but Kakashi is currently the one who uses it the most because, like I said, it's a substitute for the Chidori because he could no longer use it anymore at this point of the series. But then it cuts to the five Kage and Hinata, right? Like Naruto's in the background, and he's like surprised because Boruto just pulled out this fucking jutsu that Kakashi was only able to use, right? So it was like really surprising. It's the purple lightning, so he's really shocked. And Hinata, it points to her and Himawari because they're there and they're watching the fight, right? And of course Himawari, she's a little kid, she's adorable, and she's really excited because her big brother won, right? She's really excited. But Hinata is like weary about this, right? And it's like at this point you realize that Boruto and even Hinata, she noticed it as well, that Boruto can't use this jutsu. The only other person that knows how to use this jutsu is Kakashi, and so far Kakashi has done nothing, to help Boruto in any other way. The only person who's actually of significant strength as teached Boruto how to do anything was Sasuke, and Sasuke only showed him the Chidori. He didn't show him how to do it. He just showed him the visualization of how strong the jutsu can possibly be. So Naruto, he sees this, right? He sees Boruto uses the purple lightning, and at this point he has to go down, and everyone thinks that the seventh Hokage, Naruto, is going to congratulate his son, right? Because that's his son. Nope. It turns out that Naruto knows. He confronts him about it. He's asking like, why is he using this? And then he basically says that the scientific ninja tool was prohibited from the Chunin exams, and so therefore Boruto Uzumaki is disqualified. And it's at this point in the series where it kind of like shows his group of friends, and especially Shikadai, because remember, Shikadai lost to Boruto because Boruto used the scientific ninja tool. So Shikadai is at disbelief. All of his friends are, and especially those most important in his life. They're really mad at him for like doing this type of shit. Like the fact that he cheated to get this point and to win the final fight, right? Because the real winner should have been Shinky, but he cheated. And his friends are really mad and just disappointed in him. And more importantly, Shikadai, because Shikadai lost because he cheated when Shikadai should have won in the first place. And I really liked how they, you know, directed this entire scene. It's much better than what they did in the movie, because in the movie what happened was is Boruto still cheats in the fight with Shikadai, but they don't really show like Shikadai being like upset like with like his friend that he's known since like he was like a little kid and stuff. So like Shikadai doesn't really do anything in the movie, and neither does any of his other friends. You know, being like Sarada and like Mitsuki and stuff. Like none of the other cast members were in the movie. But in this case, because it's the anime and there are a lot more characters and he has a lot more, you know, friends visible in this arc, they're all like really mad at him, and especially, you know, Naruto, his dad, and Hinata, his mother, is just disappointed. You know, as it's just like his mom, you know, his parent. She's like really disappointed in Boruto and how he did this. He used an illegal ninja tool, and everyone's just in disbelief. They can't believe it. And then they showed the entirety of the crowd that's watching it, and they're all like pissed off, and they're like telling him off, and he's saying like to quit and you're a fraud, all this other shit. They're calling him a disgrace at the Hidden Leaf, dude. It's crazy. And then Naruto takes off, you know, Boruto's headband, and he says he's disqualified as a ninja too. So Boruto isn't currently a ninja anymore. He isn't a shinobi. And then Boruto tells them Naruto tells them that they have to go and that they're gonna have to talk about this later because, you know, tuning exam stuff. And then Boruto fucking loses it, kind of like the movie, and he starts blaming Naruto in the sense of Boruto he wouldn't have done this if Naruto didn't drive him to this sort of situation. Because the reason why Boruto was always, you know, mad at Naruto, and the reason why he's always just seemingly pissed off for almost no reason, right, at Naruto, his dad, for some reason, is because, you know, he doesn't like that his dad is the Hokage. He doesn't like that, you know, his dad is seemingly never there and can never be there for his son, you know, and you know, he just wants affection from his dad. And then the fucking scientific dude who created Ninja Tool is like, oh yeah, like even though the young lord is disqualified and even though he cheated, how about all of those from the other villages realize how significantly powerful this fucking ninja tool is, dog? Like it's so good, man. Just buy it. Give me money. I'm just like, fuck off. Like just fuck off and die, because you're already about to die anyways. So he's talking, whatever. Momoshiki finally shows up. Naruto senses his chakra. He looks up. Momoshiki is there, and he's about to confront him. And then the episode ends. The episode ends, and I'm like, God damn it! I didn't even notice at what point of the episode we were at, but it was the finale of the episode, and that's pretty much all that happens. And we're gonna have to wait until next week in order for more action to kind of happen. And I'm excited. I thought this episode, you know, in a directed standpoint, with, you know, the scene that happened with, you know, with the reveal of Boruto using a scientific ninja tool, I thought it was written and I thought it was directed very, very good. I thought it was written and directed very good because, you know, obviously they have to reveal that he cheated because that happens in the movie, and most of what happens in the movie has to happen in the anime, because this is a Boruto movie retelling, you know? But I also liked the changes that they did. You know, they allowed, you know, the secret of Boruto using the ninja tool, and they continue on past the point of what happened after Shikadai's fight. Because in the movie, you know, it's revealed that Boruto used the ninja tool after Shikadai's fight with him and Boruto. But instead, they allow it to continue on, and they allowed that build up to continue on, and it finally just erupts and explodes, and then it's finally then revealed that Boruto cheated, and all of his friends and, you know, his dad's like really upset with him. He's really disappointed. They're all, you know, upset and disappointed that Boruto did the shit that he did. And I thought it was written really well, and I thought it was directed really well. This is a really good episode in terms of action because I thought the action was pretty good, and it was really good in terms of kind of like the downfall of Boruto because he finally reaches like the pinnacle with him winning the tuning exams, and then it goes downward and it falls because he's then confronted for cheating by his own dad, the seventh Hokage, and that's his dad. He's the son of the Hokage, one of the strongest shinobi in all of history, the strongest shinobi of all of history. What am I talking about? It's a good scene. It was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it for what it showed and why it was there and why it happened. Especially for what's gonna happen later on with like the whole fight with Momoshiki. And honestly, at this point, I think the final part that the two final things that I'm really interested in is how they're gonna handle the Naruto and Sasuke versus Momoshiki fight, because in the movie it looked really good, and I really liked how they did that fight in the movie. But then again, they had a bigger budget, and it's a movie, obviously, so it's gonna look better. So I'm curious how they're gonna handle that in the anime, and I'm also just curious on how they're gonna handle like the final like Rasengan that Boruto of all people has to fucking do to defeat Momoshiki and kill him. And of all that, if anything else that's supposed to happen because of stuff that became like plot reasons to continue on for some of the stuff, what the hell is Toneri gonna fucking do? Because like I completely forgot about him to the point where I was talking to one of my friends and I was like, "Who's that guy that was on the moon who fucking had a Tensegon and like why is he there again?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, we still don't fucking know why he's there, and we don't know what the fuck we don't know what the fuck his deal is." Apparently his fucking thing is like with his Boruto's fucking eye or whatever. Like we haven't seen that either. We haven't seen that either in like 2 arcs. What the fuck is going on with this shit, man? I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I was talking about the episode and now I'm just like ranting about stuff that just doesn't make any sense because they don't explain it. But regardless, because that's the end of the episode, that means it's the end of the video. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. If you aren't at the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button for future videos just like this. I'm going to come out with a Persona 5 video as soon as possible. And I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'm out. Peace.